Yep, start filling in your information for the triangle that we have. And then we're going to work through this to see if this is going to be that situation where we have one triangle, two triangle, or even no triangle. So let's start by setting it up. I thought I worked through it with together, but maybe I didn't do it correctly. Okay. All right, so little a is 250, so we're gonna put our 250 right here. And then we have little b is 195. And then this angle A is 120. I put 190, sure did. All right, so let's start off by finding what would angle B equal. So we have the sine of 120 over 250 equals the sine of angle B over 195. So go ahead, cross multiply. Now, because we're looking for an angle, we will have to do the inverse. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to cross multiply here. I'm multiplying these two, and I'm multiplying this direction. So that's going to give me 250 times the sine of angle B equals 195 times the sine of 120. And then we divide both sides by 250. And this is what we have to take the inverse sine of. So we're taking angle B is going to equal the inverse sine of that fraction. So go ahead, type that in your calculators. I'm rounding for the angles. I did the 10th place. I did the 10th place for all three. Everything to the 10th place. So for angle B, and I'm going to call this B1, I got 42.5. Anyone else get 42.5? We got 42.5. Okay, good. So let's finish solving out triangle 1. So triangle 1 has an A value of 120. The B value would be 42.5. Go ahead and do triangle sum to find what C would equal. So you're taking 180 and subtracting 120 and 42.5. And you should get 17.5. And now that we know angle C, we can find side C. So let's find lowercase c. So in order to find side C, I'm going to still stick with my sine of 120 over 250. And we'll set that equal to the sine of 17.5 over lowercase c. Now, do you have to use the inverse to find side C? No, because it's not an angle. So go ahead and solve for side C. So when you type that in your calculator, 250 sine 17.5 divided by sine of 120. Did you all get 86.8?
Yeah.
Who got 86.8? Okay. So now we have to solve for triangle 1. So if there was a triangle 2, yes. This one? So I cross multiply. I didn't show my steps, but I cross multiply and I got 250 sine of angle B equals 195. You mean why didn't I divide by a sign?
Yeah, like why didn't we put sine 250? So it puts the sine.
Why didn't I put sine 250 down here? Because I was trying to find an angle.
So when we're finding the angle, we don't.
So don't even try to find a rule. You're just gonna solve it. So when you multiply, this is what you have. You divide it. You're dividing by 250, not the sine of something. So your denominator is just 250. So just solve it. If you're multiplying by the sign, then I would divide by the sign. But I'm not multiplying by the sign. I'm multiplying by 250. So I'm not going to divide by sine of 250. So, okay. So here, okay, so this is triangle 1. So this is my triangle 1. So let's see if there is a triangle 2. So we know that for triangle 2, A would be 120. And then B, angle B, which y'all call that B2, would have to be 180 minus the first angle we got. So in your calculator, if you take, because remember in the video, they said it's a linear pair. So go ahead and take 180 minus 42.5. And you get 137.5. So how do I know automatically that we don't have a second triangle? What do we know about these two when we add these together? Are they more than 180 already?
Yeah.
No. Yes, they are. Sorry. They're already. So they're 200. It's 257 degrees. That would be 257 degrees, right? That's impossible for us to have an angle that has two angles that equal 250, because in a triangle, the sum is always equal to 180. So because these two angles already, if there were a second triangle, those first two angles would add to be 257 approximately. I automatically know that this is not going to form a triangle. So in this scenario, this is not an option. So that's not an option. So we only have one triangle. So there's only one triangle. Oops. There's only one triangle for example 7. All right, let's look at example 8. So example 8, again, we have our ABC. So I know little a is 20. So little a is 20. Little b is 30. And a is 70. Go ahead and find angle B. So we will have the sine of 70 degrees divided by 20 equals the sine of angle B divided by 30. So I think this is going to answer your question that you had earlier, Marissa. So when you cross multiply, I'm multiplying this direction. So I have 20 times the sine of angle B equals, and I go this direction, 30 times the sine of 70 What do I have to divide each side by? By 20. Not by sine of 20, right? It's just the 20. So I'm not dividing by a sine. I'm only dividing by 20. So when I divide both sides by 20, this cancels out. And I didn't write this last time, but maybe I should have. So then I would have the sine of b equals 30 times the sine of 70 divided by 20. So what I'm taking the inverse sine of is this. There is no sine down there. Does that answer your question from earlier? I'm not dividing by a sine. But now I have to take in order to solve for angle B, I have to do the opposite of sine, which is the inverse sine. So when I do the inverse sine on both sides, it cancels out on that side. And then on the other side, I'll have angle B equals the inverse sine. And then I'll have my fraction, which is 30 sine 70 over 20. Yes.
I got an error.
So what does that mean when you all get an error? There is no triangle. So that third side is too short. That means it's shorter than the height. Now, she did a whole lot in the video to figure that out. She did SOHCAHTOA, but we don't really have to do that. We can let our calculator let us know. All right, so that third side, that means you have a triangle where that third side is not long enough to close and create a triangle because this angle is 70, right? It's not gonna form a full triangle. So this has no triangle. All right, so we're gonna stop there so we can do our skills check. So go ahead, clear off your desk, pencil, and a calculator. Our calculator